Hey guys, welcome to this tutorial. My name is Wakas and today we're actually going to model and animate a fan. So let's get started. I'm going to select everything in the scene by pressing A and press X on my keyboard to delete. Alright, so I'm going to come here into the adds option and I'm going to add mesh and go and select the cylinder. Now I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to press S to scale on the Z-axis. So I'm going to lock on the Z-axis and I'm going to scale it down something like this. So at the moment we're actually going to make the base of the fan, So now I'm going to go to edit mode and add a new loop cut. So here, and I'm going to press escape just to release, and I'm going to press S to scale a bit, something like this. Now I'm going to select the top face and press I for inset. Let's go something like this. Yeah, okay. And then I'm gonna press G, and on the Z-axis I'm just gonna bring this little bit up, so there is a nice little curve here. And then I think we can actually extrude, so I'm gonna press E, and then there you go. We can extrude it like so. Alright, now let's see the bottom part of the fan base. I'm going to select the bottom face with face selection, and I'm going to press I to inset, like so, and just move it a little bit on the Z-axis, so we actually have a nice curve at the bottom as well. And I'm going to do inset a little bit again, there you go, and I'm just going to do it just once more, like that. And now I'm gonna bring it down as well. Alright, cool. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna add a little bit of a detailing here. So I'm gonna select my edge tool, double click on this ring, sorry, the edge loop, yeah, and I'm gonna press Control B to bevel, so I can select. I think this is what I like. And I'm going to press E to extrude inwards. There we go. So if I go back to object mode, you can see we actually have a nice little detail. Okay. And now what I want to see, I actually want to smooth this mesh. So I'm going to right click and shade smooth. There you go. And I would like to add one loop cut here as well, so that we actually have more definition in this mesh. So I'm going to press Control R in the edit mode for sure. So you should go back to edit mode, Control R, and I would like to have one loop cut here, and Control R again, and another loop cut right here. So now if I go back, so you see I actually have a very defined mesh. And to be honest, we actually don't need this part up here, so we're actually going to delete this. Alright, so now that we have the base of the fan, let's go and make some blades. So I'm in the top view. You can always go to top view by going to view and viewport, so top, and it's number pad 7. So I'm using the shortcuts, and you can see all those shortcuts on the right hand side at the bottom here. So set numpad 7 is for the top, and I'm gonna go add mesh, and I'm gonna use plane. This time I'm gonna bring it right here, and I'm gonna scale it on the y-axis like so. And then I'm gonna go to edit mode, select my vertices, and move these guys a little bit out. So yeah, I think I'm gonna add a little bit more depth on the Y side because I think it's too thin. So I'm gonna go back to object mode just a tad bit, something like this. Okay, cool. And I'm gonna go back to edit mode, select my edge tool, Control R to add a loop cut, and I'm going to move this vertex like this, So there is a little bit defined shape on my blades. And let's go back to object mode. This looks very nice. All right. Now, as we have selected this blade, let's go to the modifiers and add a modifier. Use solidify to add some thickness to the blade. And let's choose something like 0.05 would actually do. What I also like to do, I'm going to go to top view and go back to edit mode. Select these three vertices, and I'm going to scale them just by pressing X. So we actually have a nice defined shape here as well. So it's not just too flat. So I actually like it. I'm going to apply the solidify for now. And let's go back to top view because we still got some work to do in the top view. Alright, so now we actually want to duplicate this blade 2 more times. And we want to make sure we're actually rotating in the center, so it's, you know, it gets distributed evenly, right? What we're going to do right now, if we get closer to the blade, we see the origin point of the blade is right here in the middle of the blade itself. So for example, if I come right here and if I press R to rotate, but I lock on the Z axis, you can see it's rotating in its own center. That's something we do not want, right? I'm going to press escape, and I would like my blade to actually rotate around the center point and maybe my 3D cursor, you know. So let's say if your 3D cursor is somewhere around, you can always press Shift C to center it. So now you see it's in the center. And I'm gonna select my blade and right click, set origin, and choose origin to 3D cursor. So now you see if I press R to rotate, and on the Z axis, if I lock it by pressing Z, you see it rotates around the base of the fan, and of course around the 3D cursor itself. So this is how powerful the 3D cursor is, you know, when you're doing some kind of transformations and animations. Okay, so let's go back to view and let's go to viewport and top, and you can always use press 7 if you like to go to top. And now I'm gonna press Shift D to duplicate, correct? And I'm gonna press escape so that I have another copy, right? So Control Z. I'm gonna press R to rotate, and I want to lock on the Z axis, so I'm gonna press Z, and I'm gonna press 125 on my numpad. So I chose to rotate at 125 degrees on the Z axis. So I'm gonna press Shift D again to rotate this guy, right? And R to rotate on the Z axis by pressing Z and just typing 125 on my keyboard. You see, it gets distributed very well. Now that I do not like this base of the fan because it's huge at the moment and I do not want this, so I'm gonna go to wireframe. Let's go to edit mode and select all of these vertices. So I'm using the box selection by pressing B, and let's bring it like, I think this is better. And let's go back to shading. Yeah, I think I like this one. This is much better. So now we're actually going to manually align these guys around. Or, you know, the best part is I'm actually going to delete these guys quickly. I'm going to bring my origin back to the 3D cursor. So select blade, right click, and origin to 3D cursor. Shift D, R to rotate, Z on the Z axis 125. Shift D once more, R to rotate on the Z axis by pressing Z, and 125 on your keyboard. Alright, so this looks very, very nice. Okay, so now there's just 2 more things we need to do before we start animating. I would like to add some kind of a holder here that you can find on top of the fans. They're like very tiny holders, and then something that can stick to the ceiling. So I'm gonna go to add mesh, and I'm going to choose cylinder again. I'm going to press S to scale down, bring it up, and I think, yeah, I'm going to scale it on the Z-axis more, like this. Go to edit mode, select the face, select tool, bring it up, and by pressing S, so we just bring it a little bit closer. Yeah, actually, I think I like this one. Yeah, something like this is nice. And then I can add another loop cut here, and there you go. We go back to object mode, right click, and shade smooth. So we actually have smooth shading. I'm gonna add another loop cut here, so we actually refine the shape. And I'm gonna duplicate by pressing Shift D, and by pressing Z to lock on the Z axis and take it up. I'm gonna rotate on the X axis by 180 degrees by pressing on my keyboard. And remember, you can always go to the transform here on the right hand side and change the rotation over here, so you can always rotate manually, or you like here, or you can always type manually if you like. It's up to you. Alright, and here I do not want this face because, yeah, this is unnecessary, so I'm going to press X and delete face. I should actually do at the bottom as well, so I'm going to press Shift H to hide everything but this one, this object. I'm going to delete this face here. Let's go back, Alt H to bring everything back here, and now let's quickly add some materials and then start animating. So before I start adding materials, I'm going to go to the material viewport shading, and I'm going to select my blade first and add a new material, call it white. Oops, sorry about this. I'm going to use the English keyboard, so yeah, call it white. And now, yeah, white is fine. I'm going to apply white on this as well, and the last blade as well. This is what we need. I'm going to select my fan base. Going to apply white at first, and then I'm going to add another material. So here's a plus sign, click, new, and I'm going to call it gold. We're going to go to edit mode, right, and I'm going to select this middle edge loop and press Ctrl B to bevel a little bit more, and this guy I'm going to turn it to a little bit of gold color. Not a little bit of gold color, it's gold color, so yeah. So there you go. We just start adding some definition here, and I think I'm going to choose I'm going to select my face tool here. I'm going to select this one and hold shift to select this as well. Select gold and assign. Yeah, I think this looks very nice. So go back to object mode. This looks great, very nice. And I'm gonna bring these guys a little bit up here so that it's kind of in the center of this golden bar, let's call that. And yeah, the rest of the things look pretty nice. I might want to reduce the size of this actual bar here, because I think it's too thick. But yeah, let's do it very quick. So I'm gonna hide these two guys here, select both of them and hide. Let's go back to edit mode, and I'm gonna go to wireframe, select these guys at the bottom and the above here, press press 7 to go to the top view, scale these guys down here, and yeah, we are good. Alt H, we are back. Whoa, what happened here? Whoa. Okay, sorry, so let's go back, Control Z. I think I just messed something up. Yeah, I think I gotta do this individually, or hold on, I think Okay, not a problem. So let's scale it down like so, and okay, bring it here. I'm just gonna, yeah, and go to wireframe mode, go to the front view, and bring this guy like here. I think it's good. Go back to object mode. Let's go to solid mode again. Alt H to unhide stuff, our objects here, and let's increase this a little bit more because that's how we actually had it before, and it's better to stick to what we made it already. There you go. Now I might have to decrease the size of this object, but let's see if it fits. Yeah, I think it fits. Let's not worry about that. So we are good to go. We actually have a fan. Let's bring this guy down because it shouldn't be in the air. And just to see how things look when you're modeling, if you're in the viewport shading, the solid view, click on this drop down and use cavity. You can also use shadows if you like, but yeah, I mean I like to use shadows and cavity so we see more definition here. Okay, so we have this guy here. Let's see how it looks in the viewport shading. Select this object and call it white, this object, and then also call it white. Alright, so now what we're going to do next is select everything. I'm using box selection here. You can press B to select everything and press Ctrl J. So now we actually have one object only, correct? And I'm going to double click. I'm going to call this fan. So let's go to the top view and see if our center is, so like if our origin is still in the center, and it looks like it is. I'm going to press R, and on the Z axis I'll try to rotate, and yep, it's perfect. So now let's work with the timeline. I'm actually gonna get my view tools here. Actually, let's go to item, and we can see the X rotation here is 180. So we need to zero out all sorts of sort of rotations here. So let's select the fan itself, press Ctrl A, and apply all transforms. Now you're gonna see everything goes 0. The scale is 1, so everything is reset. It's exactly like how we add a new object, and it has scale of 1, rotation of 0, and location of 0. So it's like a new object. Everything is frozen and zeroed out basically. So everything resets. Let's say that. So now if I try to rotate on the Z-axis, it looks pretty nice. Perfect. So this is my timeline here. I'm gonna be at frame 1, and let's end it to frame 60. So we only have until 60. Let's go to 1 and press I on your keyboard. Make sure you're in the object mode. Otherwise, if you're in the edit mode and if you have selected a face and if you press I, it's going to inset, and that's something you do not want. Alright, so object mode, select your object and press I in the 3D viewport. Now select rotation. And you see we actually have a new keyframe here. This means this object has some keyframe information that's been recorded in the timeline. So let's move to frame number 60, and on the Z axis let's add 360. So we want to have this fan move 360 degrees, correct? Press enter. Now you see this frame is not yet recorded, and to record, either you press I in the 3D viewport and select rotation, or you press I right on top of it. So you see we actually have a new keyframe. And now if you play, the fan is actually animated, right? But there's a problem. The problem is it starts very slow, speeds up, and then it starts to slow down and stops. And we want to have a linear animation, you know, it just keeps on moving like a loop. That's something we like to have in the games, correct? So I'm gonna stop playing and let's go to another editor. This time we're gonna go to, excuse me. All right, we're gonna go to graph editor. Let's not worry about everything here. And if I zoom out, you see this whole animation here, like this is at the rotation part. I'm gonna select everything, or you can always press A to select everything or A to deselect everything. Okay, it's not deselecting. So A to select everything and left mouse button to deselect everything. I'm gonna select everything and press V on my keyboard, and I'm gonna use vector. So you see, we actually have a straight curve now. Straight line, not straight curve. I'm gonna go back to my timeline, and if I go back to 1, and if I play my animation right now, it's gonna keep on looping, and this is how it's going to be in our game as well. So when we export this animation, we have this animation baked in Unity, Unreal, or Godot, or any engine that you work with. As simple as that. The fan looks pretty nice. If I were to add a little bit of more detail or refine it, I would actually, let's pause it. Let's see what we can do next. I think I'm gonna select the base, go to edit mode, and I'm gonna add another loop here. So like this, and yeah, pretty nice. I like it. And this is how you model and animate a fan and create a loopable animation. I'm gonna save this file somewhere online where you can download, and link it below in the description. I hope you liked the tutorial. If you did, just make sure you follow, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Until then, take care.